Folkestone is an art school. Folkestone is an art school. Episode 3, Stealing and Appropriation. So a lot of my paintings, the graphic look of them is derived from all sorts of sources, but I also like to make abstract paintings, and this is a series of paintings that I've made over the last 10 to 15 years. But this is a kind of graphic emblem which I saw in Soho, and I've done a number of paintings that are kind of wrapping off these colour combinations and these shapes and forms. And then what I do is I wrap them in plastic and keep them outside. These paintings only come indoors when I have an exhibition. Otherwise they live outside. So they gently deteriorate outside, like graphic emblems do on the tops of shops and things. I love 1960s graphics, but I also, like any kind of graphics really. But I've been thinking about these album covers. So what I'm going to do is steal a few graphic ideas and paint them onto these paintings. I mean, what interests me quite often in these paintings is the relationship between making a quick, random sort of mark and how that then relates in the same painting to a very carefully observed and measured mark. And how something that might be more gestural sort of has a conversation with something which is more planned. It might be that you make something that's very quick and fast, and then make something that's very slowly achieved. Or a more classic relationship would be something that's very machine-made, and something that's organic, appearing in the same image. It's almost as if two languages stuck together. You're forcing them into a room to have a conversation with each other. If you put two opposed things together, you're also asking the viewer, why on earth are those two things there? And then the viewer has to answer that. I think that needs a few more coats of orange, but we'll have to let it dry. The idea of these paintings is that they live outside really. I'll put them under plastic, I don't want them to get completely ruined. So they'll live out here and just gently weather and fall apart, just like normal signs do on the outside of buildings. I think that's totally appropriate.
Folkestone is an art school.
So as an artist, it's important to be brave enough to play in public, even though you might look ridiculous like I do now, scrabbling around on this pile of old concrete. But if you don't play around and take those risks, you lose that fantastic thing that you have when you're a child, of just playing, trying things out, seeing how they might be, seeing whether something is good one way up or better the other way up, and what better the other way up might mean when you're scrabbling around on a pile of old concrete in Folkestone. Folkestone is an art school. I painted this slogan on this door, which I found in a skip. Jessie, who's the subject of this painting, Jessica Vorsanger, and I were walking home from a night out, and I thought, I've got to make a work for an exhibition which was about appropriation and finding things. And so I stole the door out of the skip and then went home, and the next day I painted this slogan on it. I found love with the artist Jessica Vorsanger. Bob and Roberta Smith.
The flies are landing. The train is moving.
How would you mix that green?
The car is
How would you mix that bluey grey colour? So this isn't a colour wheel, but it's my father trying to work out what happened to the paints that he was using over time in his studio. So he's painted out all the different colours that he was using, and then he left this board up in his studio, and you can see which colours are the most light fast, but also it's a reminder to him of what these colours do, some of their histories and their chemical structure. But it's good to make a colour wheel. And it's good to understand a little bit about colour. It's a bit quirky. I'm going to make a colour wheel now using these gloss signwriters paints that I use. This is a rather uneven colour wheel. Orange. A nice kind of chrome green we've got there. So these are secondary colours. It's your studio thought lab. It's your studio thought lab. It's your studio thought lab. So during the making of this film, we've broken my concrete boat. It's important to leave your artworks in public and set a trail for others to find them. So I'm going to hide this artwork underneath this platform here, and this film will be the trail to find it. hide another artwork somewhere else. Hey seagulls! Did you know Folkestone is an art school? This is Amy Winehouse. She was Brendan Behan, Dylan Marley's Thomas. She was Sylvia Plath, and Billie Holiday. She wrote her own stuff. Her voice was heartbreaking. The dealers in Camden and the paparazzi and red tops silenced her. The thing about Amy Winehouse is that she went to this amazing school, which is a state school, which is encouraging people's talent, natural talent. She was a bit like Bob Dylan. She had talent pouring out of every pore. And so I made this sculpture as a tribute to her. But it's also, I think it's a sculpture about writing and how we understand things and where we are when we understand things. And you can read a book in a library, which is a good thing to do, or you can read a book at home, or you can read a book on the train. You can read the newspaper in the morning when you get up, or you can be online looking at some information. And although we don't often think about this, where you are at any one particular time when you come across something is really important. So in this sculpture, what I want people to do is to walk around it and read it and then feel a bit dizzy afterwards, just like I did just now. So your homework is to go and steal something, thieve something, whip something, do something that's very derivative, go and buy an object and declare it an artwork, and then put it on social media and hashtag it, I stole this idea.